I was in college and had an apartment at the east edge of town. It was a fourplex and had a couple of undeveloped lots near me. It was around 9:30 at night, and I was doing my laundry in my shared laundry room at the apartment. I needed quarters for the machine, so I walked across this main road to the 7-Eleven across the street. As I walked up to the door, I see this big, ugly guy standing outside the door, just leering at me. My radar goes off, and I want to turn around, but I'm walking, so I figure I'll just go inside and wait until he leaves. As I walk in the store, that's when I see that ugly guy has a friend buying something, and they have a white, windowless van, only car in the area. Now I'm really worried. I go inside and start strolling through the 3 aisles to wait them out. This action raises the suspicion of the 7-Eleven clerk. He asks me if I'm going to buy anything. I tell him I need quarters, but I'm waiting for those guys outside to leave. Clerk asks me again. I tell him the same thing. Clerk asks me a third time and then asks me to leave. The 2 creeps are still outside the door, now watching me. I tell the clerk, who looks around 17-18 years old, that I'm scared to go outside cause of those guys. The clerk has now raised his voice at me and tells me that if I don't leave, he's calling the police. I say, yes, call the police. Those guys are freaking me out in the parking lot. Then the clerk says, I have a gun. I just stare at him. Are you kidding me? I say. He looks so scared and shaken, and has been just watching me and not even noticed the brutes outside. Now I'm freaking scared the clerk is going to shoot me. What the F? I look outside and don't see the guys anymore. Okay, I'll peek and see where they went. No sign of them. Okay, I step outside and start to walk back towards my apartment. As I get across the main road, which was pretty wide, I hear something behind me. It's the ugly guy now standing up from his crouched position from behind some weedy shrubs in the empty lot next door to 7-Eleven. Crap. I keep walking towards my building, but my front door is exposed and near the street. I don't want him to see which apartment I'm in, so I head towards my car. As I'm halfway across the street, he starts running at me. I can't make it back to 7-Eleven. He's blocking that route, and his pal is now in the white van shouting instructions to him. I run towards my car. He gets really close, even brushed my back with his hand, trying to grab my hair. I make it to my car. Phew. I start it up and pull onto my street, intending to head to another store to yell for help. No cell phones at this time. Ugly guy now jogs onto my street and stands in the middle of the road staring at me. His pal is now parked across my street in the van. I'm heading towards ugly guy and I slow down. As I slow, he gives me this head tilt up and a snort like he's got me cornered. I think many women have seen this head tilt. So infuriating. His stance in the middle of my street, his superior smile at me, and that stupid head nodding at me completely pisses me off now. I punch the accelerator and head right towards him. It takes a minute for my old beat-up car to respond. He's still smiling at me when he realizes I'm heading right at him. Now he's running from my car and his friend from the van is yelling at him to run faster. I keep at him. He runs up onto the sidewalk, and I follow him up the curb. At the last minute, he dives behind a low, cinder block wall. I don't want to hit the wall and stall my car, so I swerve away and head down the street to the 24-hour supermarket. Now I'm shaking so hard, I can barely grip the steering wheel. I pull right up to the automatic doors of the store and park my car on the door sensor mat, so the doors keep opening and closing. I am determined now to get the police here. I'm furious and still terrified as I run into the store and scream for help. I yell at the manager to call the police. Everyone just stares at me. Manager tells me to move my car. Now I'm getting completely pissed off at everyone's response. I go past the manager and start to grab his phone. That scares him enough to call the police himself. It takes 30 minutes for the cops to show up. They stroll in, look casually around. Manager points at me. I tell them. 2 guys tried to kidnap me. Follow me. I jump in my car and take off at high speed, run a red light, I figure they'll chase me just for that, and head back to my apartment. It works, they follow me. I stop outside my apartment. Of course, no one is around. They walk up to me facing me, standing side by side. Just for reference, I was about 125 pounds. I'm 5'7" and 19-20 years old. Seemingly not a threatening presence. I'm facing them. I start telling them the story. As I get to the part about the ugly guy standing up from his crouched position, the younger officer does that same head tilt back and snort and says, "Well, what were you wearing? What the actual F?" There's a 2-second moment of silence while I gape at the chauvinistic guy in uniform. Then I lose it. I raise both my arms up and out and yell, "This is what I was wearing. T-shirt and baggy jeans." As I yell this, mind you, I'm about 6 ft away from them. The same officer reaches for his gun. Luckily, the other officer stops him with a hand to his partner's chest. I'm so shaken and disappointed at this time that I feel like I'm about to cry from frustration. I don't cry. I yell at him. I yell, "This is what I was wearing. Does this turn you on? Does this outfit mean I'm allowed to be attacked? What about your girlfriend, your daughter, mom, aunt? Is that all okay?" I'm actually screaming at the two of them at this point. I say, "And what about those guys? How many women have they grabbed and killed? Anyone you know? F. I want to file a report." They say, "Okay." They both turn around, go to their car, get in and drive away. No report. No response. Nothing. I'm left standing there. I still wonder, to this day, how many women those monsters grabbed, and if they were ever caught.